How's it going, YouTube? My name's Aaron, and today we're going to be talking about the Xbox One Elite wireless controller. And before we get into it, for all of those that are wanting Scufs or have a Scuf and you think this controller is a trash idea, you think it's kind of like taking out the Scuf name, don't comment that Scuf is better, blah blah blah. Take this video for what it is. I will have a Scuf video similar to this coming out, so hopefully you guys enjoy this video. So let's talk about the controller, what you're getting with the controller, and how much it costs. So let's go ahead and knock out the cost. This controller is $150. It comes in at $149.99, and if you want to do tax, depending on where you live, changes. So let's look at what you are getting from that price. Like, is it worth the price? I'm just gonna go ahead and label what you get, and then I'm gonna tell you if that price is fair, because a lot of people see $150 and they're like, no way, the original controller is so much cheaper. It's about $90 cheaper depending on where you live. So you get the controller, and what that controller comes with is 4 paddles, all remappable buttons, and replaceable thumbsticks. So next off, you get a carrying case for all of that, and that's pretty cool because Scuf makes you pay for one. I think it's a $50 extra fee to get that, and you know, some extra features. Next up, you get a set of 4 paddles, which comes installed on the controller. You do not get 8. All you get are 4 altogether. Next, you get a set of 6 thumbsticks, 2 standard, 2 tall, and 2 domed. Next off, you get a D-pad. You get 2 D-pads. In fact, you get the original D-pad, which is a nice metal D-pad, and then you get one that's more circular, that's going to be better for fighting games and games that uses the D-pad a little bit more precise than up, down, left, and right. Next off, you get a USB cable. And this is a braided cable. It looks very nice. I'm not too sure of the length. I would go ahead and say 6 feet, but I am not sure. Next off, you get 2 AA batteries. And I laugh because a controller that comes in at the price of this controller, I feel like you should get rechargeable batteries. I feel like that's something that they missed out on. I mean, even if it's not the play and charge kit, I think at least some good rechargeable batteries for that cable to charge those puppies up as you're playing is a much needed thing. Next up, you get the quick start guide, which is something you usually throw away, but the big thing is this works on the Xbox One and computers that are Windows 10 ready. Next up, let's talk about the paddles and my biggest beef with the paddles. So what I want you to do is go ahead and take your Xbox One controller, okay? Grip it. Grip that thing good. Grip it like you're about to play some Call of Duty. Put your fingers everywhere they need to be, and then turn it over and look on the back. I'm doing this as I speak, so look at it, okay? Look where your fingers are. Mine, I'm going to tell you, my ring finger, or let's start with my thumbs. Thumbs, obvious, on the thumbstick. Next up is my 2 pointer fingers. They are on the triggers. Next up, my middle fingers are going all the way down to the flat side, almost all the way off the controller on the flat side, just barely down there, all the way down. I'd say like on the left and right of the little plug-in where your puck goes. Next up is my ring finger. Those wrap around almost to the front of the controller, and then my pinkies actually do wrap all the way down to the bottom, kind of supporting the controller from underneath. So I want you to look at that, and then I'm going to put a picture up on the screen right now of the back of an Xbox One Elite wireless controller. Now what I want you to do is look at where their paddles are. For me, the P1, let's just go ahead and talk about the P1 and P2. That's the top 2 paddles. Those are right below the battery pack and to the left and right. If I were to grip the controller like that, it completely changes up the way that I hold a controller. Like, I'm being pushed so far up, I'm like having to choke up on the controller just to hit those. And now the next, P3 and P4, are about halfway down the grips, halfway down the sides, more towards the inside, not really wrapped around the top. So if you go ahead and look at that, I would say it's about an inch off the line. Those are a little bit more comfortable. I could see how I would be able to use those, but P1 and P2, after holding this controller like this just from whenever I was talking, I can go ahead and tell you my fingers are starting to cramp up, and then my pinky fingers are kind of having to choke up a little bit too, and that leaves the bottom of the controller vulnerable. So kind of like shake the controller, and you can go ahead and feel your hands are kind of sliding out of your controller. It doesn't have that much support, so I think that's kind of bad. I think they did not do a good job with the paddles. I think the paddles should have been like Scuf. They're just right there in the back, and it's right where your fingers naturally go. Like, honestly, my paddles line up where my fingers go, and that was the big thing. Whenever I bought mine, I was like, oh man, I know I'm just going to be pressing them all the time, but it kind of takes a little bit more force than what you would think to actually press these paddles in. Now, I cannot speak for the Xbox One Elite wireless controller, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be the same. So next up, let's talk about those hair triggers, and should you be excited for hair triggers. I think if you play Advanced Warfare or Black Ops 3, you should definitely be excited for hair triggers. They've improved my game, and it's you become a little bit more agile, and you start to put bullets down range a little bit faster than you could. I mean, I know it's not really logical because you're still hitting the buttons fast enough, but I do think it helps just a little bit. It tones the triggers down a little bit, and it's a little bit easier to press. Next up, let's talk about the weight. And the weight is 348 grams, which you shouldn't know what that is, because I don't know what the original weight of an Xbox Elite or wireless controller, just a regular one, the one that your Xbox came with, weighs. But from that, I do know that this controller is heavier, so that's a good thing, because I like the play and charge because it's added weight. It weighs more than 2 AA batteries. I like heavy controllers, and this controller comes with real metal on it. That's pretty cool. It replaces some of the buttons with real metal. So, and I'm looking here, it's a 9-foot USB cable. I said 6 earlier, but it is 9. So that's a good thing that it weighs a little bit more. And I like that. And just know that every single button is remappable, such as the A could become right. You know, you can change the D-pad with A, X, Y, and B if you want to, and that's kind of cool to think about it. Like, down could be A, and that seems a little bit more practical than like A becoming a trigger or something like that, but you know, it's up to you. And a big thing from this, which all is done within an app on your Xbox or on Windows 10, is that people are going to be able to make their own customization, and they're going to find out how the controller is best used for Call of Duty, and then they can upload that, and I'm sure that you're going to be able to go and use their exact settings. So I'm going to be coming to an end of this video. The first time I made this video, it lasted about 25 minutes, and I know no one wants to watch this video for 25 minutes. I'm going to try to end it here. Should you buy the Elite controller? And I'm going to go ahead and say, yeah, you should. It's worth it. For $150, you are getting so much, but just keep in mind, I do think, for me at least, I would not be able to use the top 2 paddles. The ones I would be using are the bottom 2. They make the most sense, and basically watch out for one thing. It's very controversial, but if a game does not want to support this controller, it can. It can be like, you know what, we are not using the Elite controller because that is cheating, and they can do that despite what anyone says. That is a valid option, such as if you play Call of Duty and you're playing Search and Destroy and it says that you cannot be in a party chat, it has the ability to tell you, get out of the party. Now, it doesn't just force you out. It asks you the question. If you want to play this game type, you need to get out. If not, stay in your party. That's what I think it's going to be. So if you want to play this game, change your controller. If not, keep your controller but play another game. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. I know it's a little long, but it's definitely better than 25 minutes. I will see you tomorrow with a fresh video. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Peace.